Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne. You have landed on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to take pre-loved items, secondhand finds, thrifted finds, and share the process with you, my vision, my inspiration for making these items over. So in today's video, I'm teaming up with IOD. Their amazing spring release. I'm sure that you by now have seen quite a few, if not all of their items that they have come out with for the spring. I am still in the process of working with them little by little. So in today's video, I am taking some tin, some metal items, and I'm sharing the process with you how to make metal items over. Metal's not just, I can't say you just slap paint on metal. It does take a little TLC to get paint to last on metal.
I feel like metal boxes like these, storage boxes, are pretty darn common when you're out and about searching for secondhand finds. Not always the funnest to make over because there is some prep work, especially since this one has been repainted, hand painted, not only with some apples and some splatter paint. So we need to go ahead and take time to sand that smooth so that you don't see that in the finished product. So just some 200 sandpaper would do. I don't need to get all the paint off. I just need to make sure that that is nice and smooth. And so, yep, you can see that hidden green color peeking through that this was a repainted piece already. I use the power sander where I can, but there's always going to be those areas that you just can't get into with a power sander, so I'll just take some 220 sandpaper and sand those areas by hand, making sure that I've scuffed everything up. Not only got the apple and the branches smooth, but there was a splatter paint on it, so there's all those little textures of splatters that I need to sand down. So to get these cleaned up, I'm just using Dawn dish soap, hot water. Dawn dish soap is a great degreaser, so it is a great option for cleaning an item up before you paint it. As I'm cleaning the piece with just wiping it down, getting it wet, I'm also feeling for texture. Did I leave any bumpiness behind? Is any of that paint not completely flat like it looked to be when I was power sanding it? If so, I will just take that hand sandpaper and just sand it smooth. Now, my next step, I need to make sure that the piece is thoroughly dry, that there's no water anywhere on it, not hidden in the folds on the lid or anything like that in the handles. So now that it's thoroughly dry, I'm going to prime it, even out the prostate using a product called shellac. This is a great bonder. It'll help my paint stick to the metal. And then I'm going to go ahead and I need to even out this color. I need to have a good base color, so I'm using Rust-Oleum spray enamel paint in the flat black sheen. This just has really great adhesion to metals, and of course I'm going to have to move my handles around to make sure that everything got covered. It's time to have some fun with colors. So my color choice today for this one is going to be the basil. It is a deep, very rich green color. Now I'm choosing to go with the Sweet Pickins Milk Paint because I'm not necessarily looking for this crisp paint job. This is an older little piece. I didn't do anything with the inside, so you have that aged metal inside. I didn't paint the bottom. The bottom's in good shape. So to have a crisp paint job to go in with the inside and the bottom of the metal that has aged kind of looks kind of off. So this nice thing about Sweet Pickins is the way that I prepped it. I shouldn't get any chippiness, like paint chips chipping off. I should just get some tiny little crackles and tiny little craisins that'll give this piece that old-timey look to blend in with the metal that I left unpainted. When I first started out painting this piece, I wasn't sure, like, do I want to leave the lid and the handles that black color that I spray painted? You know, it's easy enough to paint over it. It's harder to take it off. So I thought I'll just take my time, go around the handles and see if that's a look that I like. But there again, that paint job is so crisp, so new looking with the spray paint that I quickly knew that after I got the first round on that I'm like, no, I'm probably going to paint that top too. But sometimes you just get in the motion. The enjoyment of painting I find so relaxing. And of course, a thrifted Lazy Susan turntable at the bottom of my board sure does help the project go a lot smoother. And including this brush, I absolutely love these brushes that I get from the Painted Heirloom. I love that there's not like this big bulky brush that takes up so much paint that causes drips and runs. It just is like the right amount of paint that it holds, and the bristles are so soft that they just glide across the object that I'm painting. A little help from a couple solo cups to keep those handles up so it's not rusting down on the paint. And now I'm going to go ahead and let that first coat dry. So this is turning out so nice. Just a little bit of paint, that way that it's not running down on the sides, because you're not laying this flat and you're not just working like the top, working on that flat side. You're working on sides that if you had too much paint and it was too watery, it would run down. So this is like the perfect mixture right now. Milk paint is equal parts powdered, equal parts water, but I do find that somehow every time I mix it up, it sometimes is a little bit heavier, sometimes it's a little bit runnier. I don't know why it does that. I think I mix it up the same time. But if you ever get something that's a little bit on the thicker side, I just always have a mister bottle when I'm putting that second coat on. If it's really grabby when I'm putting that second coat on, I'll just mist it with a water bottle. But this seems to be working out just fine right now for me. So look at that gorgeous crazy crackling going on. Now this is just 2 coats and I stopped. I'm like, I'm not going to put a third coat on. I like it the way it is. I like that it's not complete coverage. I like that it's not this pristine coverage. But I am going to seal, and you need to seal milk paint in. So I'm sealing it in with some Weather Defense clear coat spray. And I know, there again, I know it's not a perfect paint job. That's not what I was looking for. Okay, let's open the IOD spring release box and see what I'm going to be working with today. Apothecary labels. Oh, this is such a cute pack. This is a needed pack. Small stamp set letters are awesome. They're completely awesome. Though I like the labeling, I like those I really love these letters. How many times have you needed smaller letters? And like you have to use the really small letters to fit into here. But when you first get a new stamp set, don't forget to season your stamps, meaning take some sandpaper over the stamps, just a little bit. It just makes the stamps grab onto your paint, your ink so much better. They just need a little prep work. Once you've done it, you only need to do it once. So now it's time to play. So I'm looking for some bigger font, so I'm not going to use the small little labels that are coming with the Apothecary labels. I thought maybe I would use these. You know, you do just have to play. You have to say, oh, well, I like these, but do I love them? Am I committed to putting it on my item when I'm not in love with it? But I need to season my letters. Also, I'm going for storage and bread on those boxes. That's wordage that I put on these type of metal boxes, and I could sell these metal boxes all day long as fast as I could paint them. But I don't want to do that all the time here on the channel for you, because I think you'd get bored if you kept watching me paint these type of metal storage boxes. But yes, don't forget to season, because it'll really grab onto that ink and just give you a crisper look. So I decided to go with storage, and I love this little decal. I think it's so sweet, but I like to use it on the top and the bottom, so I'll have to reuse it. So I just lined up my letters, made sure they were, I think they're even on my grid paper, centered the little decal underneath them. Now I like to use packing tape when I'm doing like letters and small designs like this. So what I do is I put my packing tape over my stamps, and then I make little handles, leaving just enough of the sticky of the tape that when I'm putting it on the object, I can adhere it to the object to make sure that it's not shifting. I am not secure enough as a stamper to just put it on my object. I like to do a tester piece on a scrap piece of paper first. That way I can see if any of my letters are not aligned, if any of the outer stamp is grabbing ink where I don't want it to grab the ink. Highly suggested, just to make sure that you are happy with how it's stamping down. Unfortunately, we've spent all this time painting this object. If you don't like what it's stamped on your object, you're kind of like, oh man. So yeah, it's better to do a tester piece, see where you need to fix any problems or realign any letters. I'm just using the permanent ink in the black from IOD. Now it comes in a squeeze tube, and then it has an unink pad. That's how you need to buy it. But I love this ink. It is permanent. You don't have to worry about anything. And I will let you know that I let this completely dry overnight. This isn't just like a fresh paint job, to make sure that the little bit of tape that I do have adhered on there is not just going to pull off once I pull off that tape. And then I love that Cricut scraping tool to help even out the pressure of the stamp, making sure that everything is good and transferred on there. So I'm just taking a heat gun now just to dry the stamp so I can take the letters off that piece of tape and then put that decal at the top. You know, if you're pulling packing tape off a metal object that you just painted a day ago and the paint's not coming off with it, that paint is on there. That prep of sanding and shellacking and priming, it just all helps the paint adhered. So now I'm adding some more age, and I really love Jolie's black wax. I love to get it into all those little crazy and crevices. It really brings out all that. And then sealing it in, blending it all in with some Homestead wax, which is made by the Fusion Company. Oh my gosh, this is just really going to take this basil color, the paint job that wasn't perfect, it's going to get in there and it's all going to flow together. What you're like, oh, that wasn't a good paint job. Well, the wax is going to tie everything all together. So my next one, I love Rusty Crusty just as much as the next guy, but when it comes to storage and storing maybe food in your kitchen, this one was actually used in somebody's garage, somebody's workshop, left in the weather. So I love Rusty Crusty, don't get me wrong, but I want to make it so you can use it and store stuff in it. Not that I'm going to get all that beautiful rust patina gone by any means. I'm just taking a grinding wheel on a drill, and rust is bumpy, it's raised, it's not smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this for a little while and see how much I can get off or how flat I can get it. I know that I won't be able to get it all off, but at least I'm making that texture not be so raised and bumpy. After working in the inside, now I'm going to go to the outside, and I'm just going to take some 220 sandpaper and just scuff sand the outer part. You can see some of the paint has chipped off, which is a beautiful patina, but we're going to give this a new paint job. So not necessarily like you can see some more of that rust coming off. I'm just trying to make it a nice piece that somebody will want to use, hopefully as storage in their kitchen again. So we'll see how it turns out. So that's as good as it gets, as long as I didn't have a sandblaster to actually get all the rust off. But I love the patina of it and the fun color. So I'm sealing it in with some Weather Defense metal spray. I'm going to do a couple coats to make sure that it's good and sealed in there, and it'll prevent any more of the rust from making more rust. It should just stay the way it is. And if you're wondering, is it food safe? Yes. As soon as it dries, as soon as it's cured, it is food safe. If you're unsure about that, just go to Google, type in, is it Weather Defense food safe once it's dry? It'll tell you that pretty much every paint, once it's dry, is food safe. I would still put only packaged food in here. I wouldn't put any raw food anyway, but it's nice to get it sealed in and leave some of that fun patina, because I do, my favorite colors, one of my colors is rust. Then I'll hit the outside of the box with some shellac, just like I did the previous metal storage box, to act as a primer and get it all prepped for paint. We're going to even out this paint using some more of that Rust-Oleum enamel paint, just like before, just getting a good base color on there. Now that has vent holes in the back, but in the inside I put some painter's tape to prevent it from going in the inside. So time to brighten this box up. I'm going to use a new color that I just got from Piglet's Closet, Birdie. So I'm assuming it's like a robin egg blue, kind of like, a blue-green color, probably more on the side of blue, but I don't know, sometimes names draw me to them. Look at that rich color. Is that not gorgeous? Remember, equal parts powder to equal parts water. Stir for 2 minutes, set it off to the side, let it thicken up between 2 and 10 minutes, and then you can proceed on painting. I don't want my paint to dry in any of these holes, so I'm just taking one of those picking tools. It's kind of like the Cricut one, but this one is from the Dollar Tree store. They come in very handy. I suggest picking one up, one or two, or even three. So my prep was well worth it because it did exactly what I wanted to do. It didn't chip off. It just has some beautiful craziness, some crackling. No, not a pristine paint job yet again, but I am going to go in and seal that milk paint in using some more of that Weather Defense Clear Coat spray. For this one, I decided to use Bread, the same font, the biggest letters that came with this Apothecary stamp set. And then I'm using just the straight line decal that I want to use at the top and the bottom. But I did find that it kind of wants to roll. It's kind of rolly, which wouldn't be rolly if you were putting it right onto the stamping mount, adhering it the way that they intended it to do. But of course, I want to use packing tape because that's how I have better control of stamps. Just each way works a little bit different, so I'll just put it on the packing tape and then readjust it. So do you all hold your breath when you're doing a stamp, especially when you're like, okay, now I have to put it on the object and hope for the best? Prayer said, why doing it, that you don't mess it up. I get nervous because we spend a lot of time pre-painting them before even putting the stamp set on. So now, same thing with the waxes. I just love the Jolie's black wax. I love how it gets into the crevices and really pops and blends that paint job all in it. Like I said, you didn't have to worry about it being so perfectly covered because that's what is going to give it that old-timey look, even with this lighter color. For the first time, I'm testing out the shop cloths, you know, the ones that come in those big boxes I think I picked these up at Menards, to see if they were lint-free, if they would apply the wax. So I wasn't always having to cut up drop cloths because I've always used drop cloths. But they are working out wonderfully. I'm so super excited. Though I do have a piece of drop cloth only because, like, I have gloves on, and then the gloves get the wax on, and then the next thing you know, I have fingerprints from the wax. And so I kind of use the drop cloth piece to hold the object while I'm finishing it.
So thank you so much for watching today's video, and what did you think? Have you already purchased the stamp set through IOD? If not, I hope they're not already back ordered by the time this video airs. It has that old timey antique that I love, so I knew that I had to have this stamp set. So I hope that I've shared a few ideas with you all. And don't worry, my head's still spinning. I'm sure I'll have some more to go. So thanks again for watching today's video. As always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this channel for the first time, and you are a lover of pre-loved, thrifted, secondhand finds, not only to decorate your own home with, but you like to get inspiration by others of how to make items over, please smash that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!